Welcome to rocket jumping tutorial part 4. We discussed a lot of different physics glitches and rocket jumping goodiness in the previous ones, but this time we're going to do a few forgotten concepts that aren't necessarily all that useful, but are very, very cool nonetheless. For this example, we're going to be expedient and use some cheats. So, in case you're wondering what they were, here they are. And we're using God mode and infinite ammo, so that will help us with landing these things and not have to worry about dying or anything. I am on episode 1, level 2. I'm with Lorelei, as I always am. I am going to be employing two very basic things, but once combined, which is very hard to pull off, by the way, once combined, they do something really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine something called feint knife porting, which, as before, when we discussed it before, you stab, and then immediately afterwards, if you continually press the stab button, and you can knife port towards somebody. It's called the feint port, or the knife port feinting, and that's a fencing term to fake somebody out. So you don't actually attack; you just appear next to them because of that giant boost of speed. Well, when you're doing a weapon animation with various weapons, the rush still works, but the actual knife doesn't happen. So if I continually spam this button while I'm shooting the rocket, you don't see the knife, but it will actually start to port me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as an example. So I shoot, and I can port, and it's a feint. And because it's doing the attack animation, it's refusing to show my hands. So what we're going to do now, we're going to combine these two. Now, this is hard to pull off. It's taken me a lot of practice just to do the basic version. We're going to do a knife port rocket jump. And what we're planning on doing is having some elevation and a rocket boost, rocket explosion boost from that, but also combined with the speed of the knife port. So, oh, that's another glitch that I'll talk about later. But with the this boost from the rocket and this boost of speed from the knife port. So, basically, we're going to get some distance. We're going to shoot this guy's feet, and I'm going to appear next to him by the time the rocket lands, and that's the goal. Doesn't always happen, but there are several versions of this, and they're all, some of them are easier to pull off than others. So the easiest thing to pull off is the basic knife port rocket jump, and this is either a screwed up rocket jump where you get a little bit of height, or a perfect rocket jump where you get quite a bit of height. Now the momentum from the knife port gets absorbed because what happens is you stop when you get to your guy. So this particular jump will get you a rocket jump in front of the guy, but not too much distance. So we're going to go ahead and try. Try that again. Oh, I actually messed that up. I didn't actually get pulled towards that, which is kind of hard to tell sometimes. So let's try that again. Okay, that time it worked. I did a basic rocket jump, and the main difference is that I appeared in front of him as that rocket hits the ground. Go ahead and try that again. That time is actually the second type. So the second type is the very, very glitchy version of it. And here's what happens. When you do a knife port, you get drawn towards somebody, and you get set stationary in front of them. That's the attack animation. The reason why the feint is useful is because you can skip the attack animation and continue running. Well, you still get put in front of that person. So what can happen is if you do this right, you can still get some extra velocity, and it can throw your client all over the place, but the quote-unquote server is going to put you right in the same spot. So sometimes when you do this, you're going to get jerked around quite a bit, even though you don't actually get any height or distance or anything. It kind of looks like you did exactly like that. It looks like you did, but you got snapped back into place. Now that happens a lot. If you try this in a enclosed place, it happens a lot. So we're going to give a couple shots at the very hard version of this, which is the one where your pool gets added to your rocket jump, and it shoots you across the map all the way to the next wall, and it gives you a huge amount of velocity. Let's see if we can get it to work. Almost. There's a glitchy one. Not quite. It is, like I said, it's very hard to pull off. It took me a lot of practice just to do the basic version of it. So we've got a couple more people we can try this on this level. The best part is in this little shooting gallery area, where you can get a lot of good distance on people. Which is actually where I discovered that this was possible, was in this area. So people will run around corners and give you a lot of good distance. There's a basic. And here's another guy. Ready? Nope. There it was. Actually, if you saw that, it threw me against this wall and pushed me all the way up. It's kind of hard to tell unless you can get to a really cool area. It's easy to do with this guy, but we're going to try on these guys first, because sometimes you can get it done with them. Yeah, try again. Let's see if this guy will give it to me. Not quite. Glitch. Now this part is crazy because there's so many people coming. A lot of them will steer your stuff, so bear with me if this doesn't go as planned. Not quite. This requires a lot of perfect timing, so as soon as you shoot that rocket, you have to hit that knife button. You also have to jump kind of right at the right moment. It's very hard to get the timing right, which is what makes this so difficult. The rockets move so fast, and the knife porting happens so quickly, that it's very, very difficult to get the timing right. So if we don't get it here, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next kind of jump. It's just fun to play around a bit. That was a glitchy one. It threw me all around the map, but put me there. Let's give it another shot. Not quite. Well, I guess we're done with that for now. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to another map and check out another kind of jumping that you're probably pretty familiar with, but it's very possible in Rise of the Triad, and that's because the trunk rocket gives you that rapid fire attack. So we're going to take advantage of something that we normally see in a game like Quake 3. Now I did touch on this, but I didn't actually... I did not... Oh, that's not what we want, spiraling in. I did not actually show it because I didn't find a lot of use to it. And the reason why this is not very useful is because you're going to take a ton of damage doing both of the things that I'm about to show you. Let me go ahead and put on the cheats. Oh, there we go. Who cares? Alright, so we're going to use this little exploit. Oh, try it again. And if you remember from part 3, if you get to the top of the bounding box of a jump pad, you can get more distance. So we get these guys off. There we go. Alright, here, just because you can. Alright, so our junk rocket. Okay. So what we're going to do is keep firing it at this wall. Actually, no, let's pick a more fun wall to climb. Let's try to climb that one. And we're going to keep shooting it up at the wall until we fly all the way to the top. Okay, let's try that again. And the downside to this, besides the damage, is just how hard it is to time the spin up. But we can get hits off the wall, and the wall will continue pushing us up because we're still getting upward velocity of where it's hitting. So that's the advantage you get. So you can do wall climbs, and there's a few useful places that won't quite kill you. In easy, you get a little bit of advantage, a little bit of leeway with this because you have a lot less damage being taken. But if you have a wall that you just want to get up real quick, is just too high for regular rocket jump, you can do a wall climb. Or if there's a part of a map that that's normally inaccessible, but you want to get to it anyway just for the fun of it, you can get up to it using a wall jump. And let's see if we can find one of the ones that lets you do that here, which I believe is this wall right there. I think it is. Let's give it a try. Nope, there's a top on it. Let's try again. Yeah, since there's that ledge at the top, you can't quite get up. But some walls are completely flat, and they'll let you go up them. So you'll just have to experiment and find the wall that works. And that being said, there's one more thing to explore with this weapon, which is the speed run. So if we've got a long hallway here, we can only run so fast. But we can speed it. Let's give that another shot. So what's happening is, since I'm using really rapid fire explosions, the horizontal velocity it gives me, which is not significant, adds up. And since it doesn't matter if you're running or you're jumping, actually. I was going to mention that jumping helps, and it does, but it's not necessary because you can still gain that extra push while running. And while you're jumping, you're not going to stay in the air that long anyway. Plus, you risk being thrown up to the roof. And since you have this, since you're clipped onto the floor, since you have that quote-unquote floor friction, it won't necessarily knock you up into the air if you stay on the ground, so you don't have to worry about getting caught in corners. But that's a very painful but useful way to speed up through things if you've got a drunk rocket. And now we have one more thing to explore. So let's go ahead and move on. Or no, let's finish this level and get ourselves a baseball bat. Not very far away. Well, the reason why I jump over that one, there's a guy that will spawn up here. I don't feel like killing him. Plus, it's actually slightly faster because you have to wait for the lever to animate and some other things. So let's go ahead. Advantage of some of the stuff we're talking about now, just to speed through here and get to where we want to be, which is right over there. Okay, so we're going to do a baseball bat. Eventually, it's much easier to make this secret if you have the double. You cannot make it with a regular rocket jump. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit this guy with a baseball bat and stab him with a knife. Alright, let's do the next guy. And you'll see that I took advantage of that. So what happens is when I use this bat, I'm going to knife port, basically. I guess you call it bat porting if you want. If you want to involve Batman and the thing and all, blah, 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 blah. So you can bat port. And then immediately knife port to the next guy and kill two guys really quickly. You can also bat port and then stab, or you can knife port and then bat. It just depends on what's the advantage of the situation. Now, the nice thing with the bat is sometimes you can actually kill two people with it. You cannot do that with a knife. So one thing that you can do in like a situation like this, you can group people together and kill them with the bat. So you can kill, let's say you get two of them with the bat, you can then kill a third one with the knife real quick. And there, exactly what that was. And that's a really cool thing you can do. You actually don't get any more distance with the bat, but you do get more distance with the dog, which does something very similar. You'll see it in one of my speed runs where I take advantage of the dog in the God mode to speed through the map. But those are the extra ones that I found so far, and there may be some more. So as I have them, I'll keep them coming. But thanks for joining in. This has been Pee-wee.